There we go. Hello and welcome to the August 2024 regular board meeting of the Urban Redevelopment Authority. Please note that all board members are present and accounted for, with Director Connolly in person, and then Council President Lavelle, Representative Powell, and Director Williamson joining us virtually. Our first order of business is approval of the June 13th, 2024 URA regular board meeting minutes, and then the July 25th, 2024 URA special board meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed or abstentions? Then the motion carries. We'll move into public comment, and I will turn it over to our Executive Director, Sushila Namani-Singer.
Thank you, Chairman. Could you please disclose the executive session?
Do that before.
Oh, you do, sorry. Okay,
Before.
my fault. Okay. Thank you. My name is Sushila Namani-Singer. I'm the Executive Director of the URA. As Chairman Chintalapoli stated, we'll move into the public comment portion of our board meeting. As a reminder, the public comment period opens on Monday at 11 the week of the board meeting on our website and closes 11 a.m. on the day of the board meeting. Members of the public are welcome to provide comment here in person, virtually, through the Zoom webinar, or providing written comment. All comments submitted in written form will become part of the minutes and meeting record for today's board meeting. Each person providing in-person or virtual comment to the board will receive 3 minutes to speak. I'll have a timer and gently remind you when the 3 minutes is coming to a close. If you're providing comment on Zoom, please just note that there will be a brief pause between when I say your name and when our staff can locate you on the Zoom to unmute yourself. Our first registered public comment is LaShawn McBride, and they are in person commenting on HOF. As a reminder, please state your name and then I'll start the 3 minutes.
My name is LaShawn McBride. I would like to just first thank you guys for allowing me to speak on behalf of a lot of people that I talk to on a daily basis. I door knock and I phone bank, and I'm talking to people in low income areas. And the fact that they have a right to counsel, it means a lot to them. And I just want to say I appreciate the all of the interaction that I get with people at the doors. And I want you to know that the program is working, and it's giving people a little bit of dignity to stay in their homes. It allows them legal counsel. It allows them to make repairs in their homes. It gives them a little bit of comfort and being able to sustain some things that they normally can't. We've lost a lot of homeowners, Black homeowners, and a lot of these places are ran by single parents. So the program is actually needed, and probably more funding needed to help these ladies stay in their homes, build homes with their children, sustain them, and give them some comfort and knowing that things are going to be okay. Legal counsel is very, very important when you don't know which way to turn and who to turn to. And we also are noticing that a lot of the single parents are losing faith in the system, you know, whether it be a homeowner or you're in a unit like Bedford dwelling. And you have to face things where there's not enough maintenance. So they can't get to you in a timely fashion. So you have to go into your pocket and buy a mousetrap, buy things that your children should have, necessities that they're not able to provide. But the program actually is helping them stay in that. But by investing in emergency rent assistance, legal assistance, critical home repairs, and valuable homeowners, down payments, and closing cost assistance, financing new affordable housing development, the Housing Opportunity Fund is meeting the need directly where it should be. And I would like to thank you guys for giving me the time and the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
You. Our next registered speaker is in person, Mohawk Shahan on consumer programs.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Mohawk Chauhan. I'm the Director of Construction and Redevelopment with Hilltop Alliance. So we have been working with the Housing Opportunity Fund as the administrator to the URA Homeowner Assistance Program and Home Accessibility Program for Independence for more than 4 years now. And we have completed over 75 of these construction projects. These programs, program and the projects has made so much difference in people's lives. And I have been lucky to experience it firsthand, helping these low to moderate income families. I also want to mention that considering all the moving pieces in these programs and projects, my experience with working with the team and the processes have been phenomenal. And we have always worked on tight processes and timelines. I 100% agree that while constructing new affordable housing is absolutely necessary, upkeeping, restoring, and preserving the housing that we already have is of utmost necessity at this point. And these programs have been instrumental in doing so. These programs not only help the homeowners, but they help our local contractors to thrive and succeed. And we have several of those examples. Today we have Mr. Palmer with us, who is one of those contractors who has been working for almost, since the inception of the program. Organizations, we have a niche ecosystem at this point where we help these homeowners from the application to the final closeout of the projects and help them, maintain their homes and, be in their homes. And we would love to see this program continue and even grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is in person, Madeline McGrady for HOF.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Maddie McCready. I'm a social worker and a program manager with the Human Rights City Alliance. We're a grassroots network of residents and community organizations focused on raising awareness of international human rights frameworks and advocating to incorporate human rights principles at the local level. Prior to assuming my current role, I worked for many years in Pittsburgh at various social service agencies, assisting folks experiencing a housing crisis, in particular, youth aging out of foster care and immigrants and refugees. So I'm just speaking today to show my support for the Housing Opportunity Fund and specifically to support the continuation and expansion of funding for direct tenant assistance programs. In my career, I met and worked with people experiencing many different challenges, but few were as devastating or as destabilizing as losing your housing or for a prolonged period of time not having stable housing. It really underpins everything from health and mental health, education, employment, relationships and family, and the ability to meet your basic needs. People really need somewhere to turn in a crisis, and the Housing Opportunity Fund, in my opinion, has really helped to fill a critical gap in our area's social service landscape. Housing is also a human right that I believe that we should uphold at all costs. So yes, we need to invest in creating more affordable housing. We also need to continue to invest in keeping people in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is on Zoom, Bob Danewood.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Bob Danewood. I'm an attorney with a nonprofit law firm that represents community-based nonprofits that are developing affordable housing. I'm here speaking my personal capacity today, not on behalf of my employer, but in my capacity as a resident and taxpayer of the city of Pittsburgh. And I'd like to say a few words about Rachel Heisler's audit recommendations regarding the need for more funding for to develop affordable housing, and her recommendation that HOF funds be used for that purpose. First of all, I want to thank her for raising, putting a spotlight on this issue. We absolutely do need more resources for affordable housing. We need more affordable housing. Pittsburgh has lost a lot of deeply affordable housing over the years. And now we are in crisis mode. And I think she's absolutely right to point that out. I just think that rating the HOF isn't the way to do it. First of all, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? As other speakers have said, the consumer programs are vital. We need to help keep people from losing their homes while we're developing more affordable housing. And so it's not an either or. We shouldn't, cannibalize consumer programs just because we need more resources for development. Secondly, the Gainey administration and city council and the URA are taking the matter seriously. The city has allocated funding for a $31.5 million affordable housing bond. The URA has, created guidelines for getting that money out the door and developing affordable units. And there's no immediate miracles, right? This will take time, unfortunately, and we're in a difficult environment where interest rates are up and construction costs are up, right? And so it's not an easy time to develop affordable housing, but the housing development professionals whose job it is to take this matter seriously are. And then finally, I just need to say, I need to point out the housing authority is sitting on so much money that can be used to develop deeply affordable housing, and it's just sitting on the sidelines. They have something called Faircloth to Rad Authority to develop over 5,300 units of deeply affordable housing. Basically, the housing that they took offline during the Murphy administration, they can apply to HUD for funding to bring that to bring that housing back, right?
Excuse me, Bob. The 3-minute timer went off. You probably.
I'm almost
Apologies.
done. Do you mind? I'll be done in 20 seconds, I promise. But I just want to point out that this is audit that, right? Look, rating the HOF is not the way to address this problem. We do have the resources available to address the problem, and we should do that. And other than that, URA board, just keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is also on Zoom, Swain Uber.
Am I unmuted? I think so. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm also here to speak about the great successes of the Housing Opportunity Fund's tenant supporting programs. And I'll try not to steal too much thunder from whoever will be presenting the annual report later, because there's, that obviously shows up there. So yeah, my name's Swain Uber. I'm an attorney with Community Justice Project. I help coordinate the Lawyer of the Day program in the city, which is our local pilot implementation model for a Right to Counsel Plus here. LOTD, as I'll call it, is a program that was launched with the support of the Legal Assistance Program, created and funded through the Housing Opportunity Fund, and it's almost currently solely funded through HOF funding. I know I've spoken with this board before and others about the Lawyer of the Day program and its successes, along with the rest of LAP and rental assistance provided through the Housing Stabilization Program, which both funded through HOF, and how they all help keep Pittsburghers in their homes. But I wanted to provide a bit more updated information as those results have actually continued to improve. So as of June 21st of this year, the last time we ran the numbers, nearly 80% of the 1,400 cases that our LOTD teams have worked on were able to remain in their homes. So that's, favorable outcomes for both landlord and tenant. Rental assistance plays a big role in that, as do the lawyers who are working on with the tenants on their cases and the resource navigators connecting them to supports. So this is a success rate of over 6 times higher than in prior years, prior to the program being launched. And in addition, these interventions have been both effective and sustainable, with very few households returning to the legal system again. And even in those cases, the success rate for those families who we do see again is actually higher. It's at 85%. Evictions can be one of the most devastating things that can happen to a family. And the HOF programs are serving exactly those people it was designed to serve. Nearly everyone who we've served through our program, 93%, are in households whose income is below 50% AMI. 3/4 of those households are female-led, and over 1/2 of those are in a household that identify as single-parent households. Programs also help landlords. Evicting a tenant is expensive, over $5,000 on average. So by keeping a tenant housed and addressing arrears, like through the Housing Stabilization Program, HOF funded, it's a true win-win-win situation. One other thing I'd note is that a good portion of the people that we do help through these programs were in the process of being evicted from subsidized housing, some of which the URA or other public sources have funded directly. So it's not merely enough to build units and put people in them. Helping families remain in those homes is just as critical, if not more so, than simply creating more units without stabilization supports. Again, dozens of people are responsible for these successes. Many of them are URA staffers, both former and current, HOF advisory board members, both current and former, and URA board members, again, both current and former. Without the support of you all, Lawyer of the Day program would never have had a chance to even start, and those hundreds and hundreds of Pittsburghers and their families would never have had the support they need to stay in their homes.
Thank you, Swain.
Great.
3 minutes is up.
Perfect. Yeah, that's just one more sentence. Rather than questioning their value and these programs' values to stabilize families that I think have been pretty clearly demonstrated through both qualitative and quantitative data, we should be pushing to expand these programs and the funding for them to make sure that everyone has the chance and the support they deserve to remain in their homes. Thanks.
Thank you. We have 5 more in-person speakers. So the next one I'll call up is Amy Mangum. Not here? Okay. Dave Brennan. Dave, you have 3 minutes.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Dave Bringen. I'm the executive director of Lawrenceville United and a co-chair of the Pittsburgh Housing Justice Table, which is a coalition of over 130 organizations and individuals who believe that housing is a human right and who are working towards policies to ensure that everyone has access to the housing they need. As a veteran of many community meetings myself and being on the receiving end of lots of public comments over the years, I've often warned newer staff of mine before a large community meeting that people don't generally come out to community meetings to tell you what a great job you're doing. But as you're hearing here today, that's actually why we're all here. I just am here because after hearing the media coverage about the controller's performance audit on the Housing Opportunity Fund and then reading it in full, I felt compelled to come and correct the record a bit on the narrative that the Housing Opportunity Fund is not using the money, quote, in the most effective way possible. As most people probably recall, the Housing Justice Table was formed around passing and funding the Housing Opportunity Fund. I was part of that original coalition because we were experiencing firsthand at LU all of the affordable housing needs where there were no resources available. We fought for the Housing Opportunity Fund because we knew we needed it for residents coming into our office who fell behind on rent, were facing an eviction, dealing with a leaking roof they didn't have the resources to fix, or needed a little help to close on the home they wanted to buy so they could stay in the neighborhood. What's more, we fought for the Housing Opportunity Fund to be targeted towards our most vulnerable residents who are experiencing the worst effects of the housing crisis. I'm here because I want the URA board and the broader public to know that these things that we fought for is exactly what the Housing Opportunity Fund is doing in practice. I read all 82 pages of the controller's performance audit, and contrary to the media coverage and the spin that was put around it, I thought it painted an extremely positive picture of a highly effective and efficient program making a real and important difference in people's lives. According to the controller's audit, the Housing Opportunity Fund directly assisted over 1,000 residents with critical housing supports and assisted the creation of 272 affordable units in 2022 alone. Most importantly, the controller's audit shows that the Housing Opportunity Fund is reaching residents most impacted by the housing crisis, extremely low-income residents, Black residents, and households headed by single moms. As somebody who has personally helped dozens of Lawrenceville residents access programs in the fund, I've seen this impact firsthand. One older homeowner with a subprime mortgage was able to avoid foreclosure after she suffered a stroke. A single Black mom of 3 who was previously homeless used the Housing Opportunity Fund to purchase her first home, a community land trust home, many of which have been made possible with funding from the Housing Opportunity Fund. We're currently working on a home repair project with a lifelong Lawrenceville resident who hasn't had a working furnace in his home in decades. Another homeowner with a disability was able to get up and down from the first floor after he used the homeowner assistant program to install a stair lift. I could go on. So these programs are life-saving programs that are addressing our affordable housing crisis right where it meets people in their everyday lives. And I'm very concerned by media statements made by the controller suggesting that the fund should only be used on the financing of new housing development. While obviously new housing production is essential, the fund's programs provide a healthy and appropriate balance between this need and direct support to people who are experiencing the housing crisis. And I'll just close by saying there's more that we can and should do to address the housing crisis in Pittsburgh, but the Housing Opportunity Fund and Mayor Gainey are taking bold steps to advance solutions. We should be doubling down on these efforts and further investing and expanding them, not undermining confidence in the progress we've already made by misleadingly suggesting that these programs are ineffective or failing to meet their intended outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Shimko is our next in-person speaker. Bill, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, URA Board, staff, everyone here today. Stated, my name is Bill Shimko. I'm the Executive Director of the Hilltop Alliance. I was already scheduled to be here today to talk with you about our shovel-ready, URA-funded 31 new affordable single-family homes in the Grandview House Homes development in Allentown. But I also wanted to take a moment, first of all, to echo what Dave just said, to say that I think that the URA and the Gainey administration is doing a wonderful job with the Housing Opportunity Fund and appreciate the efforts. I know many of our residents do. In addition to being the Executive Director of Hilltop Alliance, I'm also a resident of the North Side, and I'm a board member of the Pittsburgh Project. So in light of agenda item 5E today, about HAP program administration, I wanted to speak on behalf of the Hilltop Alliance, the Pittsburgh Project, I hope Lawrenceville United, and all the other HAP program administrators that you all know about, maybe some that you don't know about, I'm not sure, and say that these organizations are primarily neighborhood organizations. We provide on-the-ground services in each of those neighborhoods. We know the residents, we know the local contractors. As Mohawk mentioned earlier, we brought a resident, we brought a contractor today, and we've been creating an ecosystem of organically delivered HAP and happy projects to these neighbors. As a program administrator since 2019, Hilltop Alliance sees the challenges that we have in the HAP program. We get it. The news that the 2024 HAP application period was not going to happen in June was a literal gut punch to over 30 residents that we have worked with to help them get ready to prepare an application for that project. So we understand that there's a need there. We understand that it is hard to access that need, that there's backlogs of projects that we want to move forward. And we want to say that we're here today to say, yes, let's move forward. But as we move forward with the pilot program and however else in the future this program is administered, please don't forget about the local neighborhood program administrators. Thank you.
Thank you. Next registered speaker in person is Lawrence Palmer.
Afternoon. I'm a little nervous. Sorry about that. The HAP program helped my small company, and it also helped individuals that normally would not be working, right? Other men that look like me, they might be individuals who ex-cons, sorry to speak on that, but ex-cons, drug addicts, or who was recovering. And it's a win-win-win situation because you got the homeowners who have sustainable housing also, right? So I think it's a three-win program. Helped me a lot. Thank you very much.
We received from Tammy Brown. And then we have Randall Taylor in person, Mike Polite on Zoom, and quote, John on Zoom coming up. So Tammy Brown's written comment is for the Home Improvement Fund program. She says, quote, hello, I've gotten approved for a much needed bathroom project. I have an 85-year-old sister that now resides with me and is handicapped. She is unable to take showers or baths because of the way my tub/shower is. I had received notification from the Hilltop Alliance that we qualified and were placed on the list, which was in 2023. I had repeatedly inquired about the status until around earlier this year and was advised of no funding and will be placed on the list for 2025. I believe the remaining funds should be used to help us get the needed repairs. End quote. Thank you, Tammy. And then Randall, you're here in person. Hi.
In Pittsburgh is very strong and very vibrant and very aware of things that we need to come in front of you to talk about. So we're really speaking to the public, and we're speaking to our city controller, and to say that when the Housing Opportunity Fund started, a lot of us thought that it would go sideways, would become a slush fund for developers. And we're pleased is why we're here today to say that's not been the case. And that the Housing Opportunity Fund understands that the number one principle of housing justice is to keep people in their homes. And that is what this fund has worked tirelessly to do. So we do agree with our city controller that there needs to be more funds into the Housing Opportunity Fund. I do think we should lift that cap. So if there's more realty transfer dollars, that it's just not capped at the $10 million. So again, you should be pleased, as Dave said earlier, when you had the public come and say, job well done to the Urban Redevelopment Authority. So again, we want to keep up the good work and continue to begin to serve the public as well as you have, and to keep being visionary about what are the roots of our housing crisis. And again, keep people in their homes is the number one thing before we talk about anything else. So again, I want to thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. The next public speaker is Mike Polite on Zoom. You could unmute Mike.
Done. I'm unmuted.
Great. Thank you, Mike. I'll start your 3-minute timer.
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of HOF. I'm Michael Polite. I'm the Senior Vice President for Development for Beacon Communities. And I'd like to speak just a couple moments about specific transactions that have benefited from the HOF program and the hundreds of families that are living in either new or preserved housing as a result. I'll use some specific examples. Right now, there are projects going on in the Hill District, the Lecce School, that's creating 46 new housing units that didn't exist before, benefited from the program. In Uptown neighborhood, the Standard on 5th is coming out of the ground. 51 families are going to live there and benefit from it with restricted rents for an additional 40 years. Before that, we redeveloped the former Lincoln Leamington home for the aged into 54 apartments for seniors and a new home for the East Liberty Family Health Center in the Lincoln Leamington neighborhood. We have, so all told, those add up to about 150 places where people weren't living before, but are going to benefit low-income families for 40 years. We have literally in the planning stages, projects that will close within the next 120 days. A 93-unit senior building that was going to close in probably 60 days at First and Market downtown benefited from the program. The May building, which is in downtown Pittsburgh, 86 units, will be under construction probably by April of 2025. So several hundred households are benefiting from the program. It's doing, as others said before, it's doing the job that folk envisioned years ago. And also, as others said, there are other properties that need to be redeveloped. This tool is part of first providing housing for people of modest incomes, and even up to workforce housing incomes. But it's also an important part of community stabilization from a real estate perspective. So protecting the neighborhoods, solidifying really the fabric of the neighborhood, the physical fabric anyway. So congratulations on all of those who worked so hard to create it several years ago. The resources are being used to accomplish the work that you all envisioned. We need more.
Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it. Your 3 minutes is up. John is on Zoom. You could find John and unmute him. Oh, okay. John, you're unmuted. Can you say something and we'll see if we can hear you? Is he a panel listed as a panelist? Oh, okay. Okay. John's our last speaker for today.
Thank you, Director. I do also want to note for the public record that the URA Board met in executive session on Friday, August 2nd. The purpose of that was for briefing purposes only for today's meeting. And then we met today immediately beforehand for a project update and legal matters. Moving on to announcements. We have a number of them today. Our first one is related to the invitation to bid for the Swiss Elm Park Solar Remediation Project. And Lily Friedman is joining us for that.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Friedman. I'm Manager of Development Projects here at the URA. Today, I'm excited to announce the URA is planning to invite contractors to bid on the Swiss Elm Park Solar Remediation Project. The goal of the invitation to bid is to solicit responses for a cap and cover approach to the cleanup of an approximately 70-acre brownfield site, exposed slag to be overlaid with a 12-inch combination of clean fill and vegetated topsoil, as approved in our remediation plan by the Pennsylvania Department of Energy Protection. Erosion and sediment control measures are expected to be applied prior to soil placement in steeply sloped areas. Native plantings, as desired, to be prioritized for the site vegetation. Contractors listening who may be interested in responding, please plan to join our pre-invitation to bid release meeting on Monday, August 19th at 3:30 p.m. This meeting will be held virtually, and you can register in advance via Eventbrite link accessible through the project page on the URA's website. The invitation to bid will be issued via IonWave in September and is planned to be publicly advertised through the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, as well as the New Pittsburgh Courier. Bids will be due in October 2024. This concludes the announcement, so I can take any questions or comments from the board at this time.
Thanks, Lily. Any questions, comments from board members? No.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next announcement is announcement for another release of an RFP, this time for demolition and site clearance on North Homewood Avenue. And Gordon Hall is joining us for this.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board. My name is Gordon Hall, and I'm a project manager with the Development Services Department at the URA. I am announcing the release of a request for proposals for the demolition and site remediation on North Homewood Avenue. We will be releasing the RFP on August 15th, 2024 on our public bidding platform, IonWave Technologies. Proposals are due by the end of the day on Friday, September 20th, 2024. The URA is seeking a general contractor for site remediation services on 13 vacant parcels along the North Homewood Avenue Business District corridor. 6 of these parcels contain structures that will be demolished due to their unsafe conditions. It is worth noting that all parcels and structures in this project are publicly owned, either by the City of Pittsburgh or by the URA. The scope of work in this RFP is part of a larger effort along North Homewood Avenue. In January 2024, the URA secured $2 million in ARPA funds for the North Homewood Avenue Business District corridor. The URA is spending these funds to conduct pre-development activities on 35 publicly owned parcels on a 4-block stretch between Susquehanna Street and Frankstown Avenue along North Homewood Avenue. The purpose of this ARPA-funded work is to remediate blighted, publicly owned parcels along the business district and to demolish structures that pose a threat to the community due to their unsafe conditions. The goal of this work is to create future development opportunities by providing the Homewood Avenue Business District with clean, development-ready sites assembled for future projects. Lastly, I want to thank my colleagues in the QC&I and legal departments. Their technical expertise and guidance have been critical for moving this effort forward. With that, I will pause for any questions and comments.
Thanks, Gordon. Questions, comments from board members? No? Okay. Thanks, Gordon. Thank you as well for your work on this. I know there was a lot to wrangle to get everyone organized to evaluate the properties. So appreciate you spearheading that and talking with the community about moving forward.
Thanks.
Our next announcement is the HOF 2023 annual report, and I will turn it over to our Chief Housing Officer, Kiana Wassler.
Good afternoon. I'm Kiana Wassler, Chief Housing Officer at the URA, and I wanted to take a moment to go over the 2023 Housing Opportunity Fund annual report. It was released on Monday, July 22nd, 2024, and is available for download from the URA's website at ura.org/pages/HOF annual reports. The report covers the Housing Opportunity Fund's impact during the calendar year for 2023. Some highlights from 2023 include Housing Opportunity Fund support with assisting 121 homeowners with repairs, helping 126 households buy their first home, preventing eviction and helping to stabilize 1,044 households, developing 162 units of affordable housing. As we've heard from public comment today, the diversity of the Housing Opportunity Fund programs came about through a lengthy public process started many years ago. I want to thank the housing advocates who are doing the daily groundwork that helped the city develop this programming then, and that continue to support those in need, and supporting the URA help support those in need every day. I want to make a note that the 2023 annual report did not aggregate all of the programmatic statistics through all the years. So we want to take a moment to take an opportunity to do that now. Next slide. So for the rental gap program from 2018 through 2023, we've developed or preserved 623 units of affordable housing. And for the for sale development program, we've created 60 new affordable homes for sale. Through the HAP program, or Homeowner Assistance Program, we've assisted 560 homeowners with much needed repairs to help them remain in their home. Down payment and closing cost assistance program, we've helped 506 households buy their first home. Throughout both the housing stabilization and the legal assistance program combined, we've prevented eviction and helped to stabilize 2,024 households. And then the small landlord fund, we've helped create 5 units of new affordable housing through that fund. And this data is all based on the HOF annual reports from 2018 through 2023. So I just want to take a moment to highlight what we've been able to do throughout the life of the Housing Opportunity Fund, and also thank the advocates who support the URA, thank the City of Pittsburgh for providing this funding.
Thank you, Chief Wassler. Questions, comments from board members on this?
just want to thank the members of the community who came out and provided your experience with the program. That goes a long way, but also, oh, sorry. Thank Chief Wassler and your team for all of your work on the program. And it's nice to hear today what it's actually doing on the ground in the community. So congratulations on all those numbers and thank you.
Council President LeBeau. Oh, sorry, Representative Powell, go ahead.
Oh, no, please.
Go for it.
Okay, I just wanted to second all of what Chief Wassler had to say, and also thank everyone who came down to provide testimony today about the importance of this work. And just want to thank all those at the URA, as well as those in the community who are assisting in doing this work. This is critical work, and very proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the years. So thank you all.
Now, Representative Powell.
Thank you. I was just gonna add, obviously my thanks both to folks who spoke today and to the housing team, but also add that, you know, clearly there's a lot more work to do. And the URA over the years has been committed to trying to be nimble on its feet, learning better ways that we can create new programming, tweak our programming so that it's meeting the need on the ground. And so I appreciate the opportunity to, you know, be a part of a team that's providing this critical housing, these critical dollars, but also welcome more people as you see opportunities or ways that we could better serve your communities. Please be a part of these conversations. Please be a part of these board sessions, because we have the opportunity to learn more and do better with more collaboration.
Thank you, Representative Powell. Director Williamson.
Yeah, I mostly was just gonna kind of echo what's already been said, but it is really impressive to see these cumulative numbers from, you know, the first 5 years of the existence of the Housing Opportunity Fund. I mean, hundreds of units of affordable housing that would not exist if the city did not create this fund. Dozens of first-time homeowners who are now building generational wealth for their families, who would not be able to do that if the city didn't create this program. Thousands, literally, of evictions that have been prevented because of the existence of this program. And the numbers, you know, the numbers are one measure of the success, but probably the least compelling measure of its success, because behind each of these numbers there are individual families, individual Pittsburghers, individual stories. That is really why this exists. And I think one of the things that's really notable here is that the number, looking at the numbers in this way across all of the various programs, really does point to the very deep need across all of the program areas that continues to exist. And that is exactly why the legislation was created the way that it is, to divide up the money as much as possible to address each of these very distinct needs. And so it's really helpful to see it kind of broken down this way. So thanks for putting this together, and thanks again to everyone else has said it, but thanks to those members of the community that took their time down to come down or log on and provide public comment today. I mean, folks will probably remember that when council was debating the law that created the Housing Opportunity Fund, there was a lot of opposition from you know, some folks in the business community and the real estate community, predicting that increasing the realty transfer tax would have catastrophic effects on the Pittsburgh real estate market. We didn't see that at all, ever, for one moment, but what we did see is an enormous amount of good done for the people of Pittsburgh. So thank you all for this.
Thank you, Director Williamson. I mean, I would echo all the comments that my fellow board members have made, and Chief Wassler as well. I do want to sincerely thank everyone who came down here. It's not lost on us that you take time away from work, you know, to come down here and share your thoughts with us, and to do that in support. Dave, as you noted, isn't lost on us either. So, you know, truly, I want to thank you for that. But I think it really just speaks to how important this fund is and the programs it supports and the way in which it is able to impact residents' lives. As Director Williamson said, it's impressive to see the numbers there, but in looking at that, that is well over 3,000 households and individuals who are better off as a result of the investment that was made in creating the Housing Opportunity Fund for all of those of us who were around and involved in that, but in the decisions that have since been made and the programs that everyone in this room has advocated for in order to ensure that we're making those investments. So I do want to also take a moment to thank our staff, not just for helping to pull these numbers together and aggregate them, but for the work they do as well in, shepherding these programs and moving them through and doing that in a timely manner and in an efficient way that, by the audit itself showed that 96% of those funds were expended or committed. That is not an easy thing to do on an annual basis and an ongoing basis, and to do it in a way that's as thoughtful and as caring as it is, and as we've heard, is, something to be proud of. And, I'm immensely proud to have, get to play a very small part on it by sitting at this table once a month. I think it's important too, and we've heard it kind of through some of the comments, to also recognize how all of these things relate to one another. And that if we were only producing units, then that would have meant 2,000 families would have lost their housing, right? And so we can't make headway if we aren't, investing in our existing residents, in preserving our existing units. And no one, is under any illusion that the amount of resources that we have is enough. In part, that is why, the city, this board, and our staff, put ARPA funds to work at creating, generational opportunities, as we've noted many times at this table. And why last year, the Gainey administration, and we're thankful to council and our community partners who showed up in support of that move to do a housing bond, affordable housing bond, the first one in the city, that's going to allow us to create at least another 1,000 units, specifically create and preserve another 1,000 units that we otherwise would not have been able to do over the next 3 years. So we know there's more work to do. We're thankful for all the work that's been done. And again, I want to thank everyone who came out here today in support of the work that this team does every day and that you all do every day in your neighborhoods to help out our neighbors. So thank you all. Our next announcement is related to Own PGH, one of those ARPA related investments, and Alicia Majors and Rayanne Driscoll are joining us for this.
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Majors, and I am the homeownership manager for the consumer lending team here at the Urban Redevelopment Authority. I'm here today to give you another update on OwnPGH. As of late July, we have officially stopped accepting applications to the OwnPGH home purchase program. Since its launch on January 31st, 2023, we have assisted 158 borrowers and helped to make them City of Pittsburgh homeowners. Of the 158 new Pittsburgh homeowners, 46% of them are Black female head of households. 21% are white female households, 11% are Black male head of households, and 12% are white male head of households. 45% of that total, 158, 45% of those new homeowners decided to make Pittsburgh their home by moving from outside the city limits to within the city of Pittsburgh. From the time we accepted our first OwnPGH application in January 2023, there has been a nonstop flurry of interest in this program. Through our office hours outreach efforts, interest continued to grow and has made the OwnPGH program successful in utilizing the full $15 million American Rescue Plan Act allocation for grant funding dedicated to the for-sale homeownership activities. Our sincere gratitude goes out to Mayor Gainey and the City Council for investing in a livable Pittsburgh, not just in words, but also in action. Before I go, I would like to once again give thanks to everyone throughout the URA, including our board, that believed in this program. Without all of you, this success would not have been possible. Our quality control team, our finance team, my colleagues, Brianna Benjamin, who administers the down payment closing cost assistance program, Rand Driscoll, the OWN PGH program coordinator, Housing Authority, City of Pittsburgh, City of Bridges for their continual post-closing assistance, and a huge shout out to our banking partners, First Commonwealth, Dollar Bank, SFB, and S&T Bank. This has been a collective effort, and it's paid off. Thank you so much for allowing me this time to once again bring you this OWN PGH update. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate that. Just wanted to add and clarify, we have closed the application currently because the funding is committed and spent, right? So, just wanted to clarify that to you.
Yeah.
You know, and while you're here, please only really appreciate URA staff time, Alicia, Rayanne, Brianna, and all the others who worked on this program. The success of this program was a direct result of your care and time that you put in. Not only do you have housing finance expertise, but you have a true love for people. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you all.
Well, any questions or comments from board members? Before Alicia tries to sneak out of here.
Just a quick comment, Chairman, that this is phenomenal work. And it's mentioned that the URA is putting together a fundraising plan. The plan is actually really simple. It's called the private sector, our banking community, our nonprofit community needing to put money that they're otherwise not deploying currently to the successful levels that the URA is, that they need to partner with us and provide the resources so that we can continue this program. Because we've demonstrated we can deploy the money. We've demonstrated that we can get people into homes probably at a greater rate than the banking community currently is doing. So I will look to further that conversation on the council side in the very near future, but that is the plan.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, Alicia, I just want to thank you and Ryan and Brian and the whole team for doing this, getting us to this point. I mean, going back to when this was launched in February of last year, really building this from whole cloth, you know, aside from a line item on a table, right? There was nothing that kind of put shape to what OWN PGH could become, and more importantly, how we would get there. And it is, as the council president said, a tremendous amount of work, and the success, you know, that you've shown in aggregate in those photos and 154 others, I'm sure, is really something to behold. So thank you all for that.
Thank you. I may go.
Yeah. Thanks, Alicia. Our last announcement is the Q2 quarterly impact report, and Talia O'Brien is joining us for this.
Good afternoon. My name is Talia O'Brien, Government Affairs Analyst in the Executive Department, and I'm here today to present the quarterly impact report for the second quarter of 2024 on behalf of my colleague, John Bonello, who's a Senior Data and Evaluation Specialist in the URA Strategic Data and Impact Unit. As you may know, SD&I spends the first 6 weeks of each quarter collecting and analyzing the outputs from the previous quarter to report on the progress made towards our strategic goals. Some highlights from the Q2 2024 impact report are displayed here on the screen. 27 businesses were connected to technical assistance through the URA and our affiliates. 334 individuals were able to stay in their homes through housing-related legal assistance provided by the Housing Opportunity Fund. 39 individuals were assisted in achieving home ownership through the Housing Opportunity Fund down payment and closing cost assistance program. 278 units of affordable housing were created or preserved through our residential and consumer lending programs. Between the URA and our affiliates, 14 small business loans were closed, worth over $1.4 million, and roughly $377,000 were dispersed to support neighborhood projects and to businesses maintaining vacant lots. The full report is now live on the URA's website and shows more of the great work that was done in our second quarter. And we encourage anyone who's interested in taking a closer look at these metrics to visit the impact section of the URA website, which is listed under the About Us heading. Should the board have any questions, John is available now via Zoom to assist. Thank you again for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Talia. Any questions or comments from board members? No. We say it every quarter. It's always impressive to see these numbers, before us and what the team's been able to do over the previous 3 months. John, I know you're joining us virtually, but thank you for your work on this, and all your colleagues that helped to pull these figures together. So thank you. Moving on to the agenda, we have items today in development services, residential lending, and then, as usual, our consent agenda and disclosures. First up in development services is in the Upper Hill, the Citizen Science Lab project. And joining us for this is Maya Fuse.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Maya Fuse. I'm a project manager here at the URA. Today, I'm requesting authorization to accept final financing, final drawings, and to accept deed of sale for the listed parcels to the Citizen Science Lab or related entity for $127,400. Next slide, please. So if you remember, this project originally came in front of the board in March of 2022 for exclusive negotiations, then again in October of 2023 for acceptance of the proposal package. Since October, this package has received funding from the R.K. Mellon Foundation, the Hillman Foundation, and a URA Acre loan. This project will include 5 state-of-the-art instructional laboratories with the help of ensuring STEM education for Pittsburgh residents, children, and adults. Dr. Andre Samuel is the founder of the Citizen Science Lab, and he is here as well to give additional remarks.
Thank you. Yes. I just want to say that we have a wonderful vision for this project in the Hill District, and would like to extend thanks from the organization to the URA and all the partners who helped us with this project. We're looking forward to being able to continue, and thank you.
We both can take questions if you have any.
Great. Thank you both. Any questions or comments from board members? Council President?
Quick comment.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone from the URA who has assisted with this. But Dr. Samuel, thank you for your sort of fortitude and your fundraising efforts. This is really going to be a phenomenal development for the community. This is already a wonderful organization that does tremendous work already. And so to have them become headquartered in the Hill District is just going to be tremendous, both for the community, but also for the city at large. And so I just want to congratulate him for all that they do and thank him for his vision for this site.
Yeah. Hear, hear. Any other questions or comments from board members? I would just echo the councilman's comments or council president's comments, pardon me, for thanking the staff, for getting us to this point, and Dr. Samuel, you and your team for, conceiving of this, zeroing in on the property and sticking with it, to today. So if there's no other questions or comments from board members, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Congratulations. Next item on the agenda is in East Liberty, the Broad Street Plaza, and Gordon Hall is coming back for this one. Oh. Sorry. It's like Gordon changed.
Hi, guys. Good afternoon again. My name is Gordon Hall, and I'm a project manager with Development Services. Today, I'm requesting authorization to enter into a professional services agreement with A. Moranti Contracting Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $1,176,450 for the renovation of Broad Street Plaza in the East Liberty neighborhood of Pittsburgh. Moranti Contracting Incorporated was the only respondent to the request for proposals released on June 30th, 2024. The full bid was submitted for an amount of $1,023,000. The requested authorization today includes the URA standard 15% contingency added. The work is scheduled to take 180 days from start to finish. The expected start date is next month in September 2024, with a completion date in the spring of 2025. The scope of work for the renovation of Broad Street Plaza includes new concrete surfacing, new landscape features and tree plantings, new fixed and mobile furnishings, and new light fixtures. The design of the plaza is intended to provide the East Liberty neighborhood with a space that can accommodate different types of community events and programs, such as live music, vendor markets, and public meetings, while also providing the community with an everyday plaza for informal gatherings. The URA and the city's Department of Public Works are partnering on this project. Together, we will manage the construction and renovation of the plaza. Upon completion of the plaza's renovation and inspection, the URA will transfer the ownership of the plaza to the city of Pittsburgh for permanent ownership and maintenance. I want to take a moment to give a special thanks to Clavon Design and Associates, who have worked on the Broad Street Plaza project with the URA since 2018. Clavon designed the renovations and helped the URA staff manage the bidding process. Finally, as usual, I want to thank my colleagues in the QC&I department. Their technical expertise is critical to realizing this plaza renovation in East Liberty. With that, I will pause for any questions and comments.
Thanks. Does Lori have anything? Yeah. Lori, do you want to come in now?
So I have to, my name's Lori Moran. I'm with the East Liberty Chamber of Commerce, also with Valley Money Real Estate Services. I had to laugh. I heard all these kudos all throughout the whole beginning of the meeting. And I'm like, and that we're here to do this also. So I don't want it to go to your heads, but this is a lot of praise for the URA today, which you guys have earned hands down. One of your biggest groupies. So the Chamber of Commerce has been working with the URA for decades, and this was a project that was very near and dear to our hearts. And thank you for sticking to it. It's in that market area, immediate market area, within 1 to 2 blocks. There is about 150,000 square feet of vacancy right now. Nice vacancy. This is not bottom feeder vacancy. This is nice office and retail vacancy. We struggle because this is sort of a blighted spot in our community, and there's a lot of loitering and issues in this existing parklet. So this renovation, which is sort of Market Square-ish, that Clavon has done a great job with, it will make a huge impact. We've already, in the last 2 months, since we kind of knew we had the funding and it was on its way, we've started using it and rolling into our marketing package. The feedback from prospective tenants has been terrific, and we have several on the hook under agreement or under LOI because 100% because of this plaza. They're so excited about it. The whole community is. But so this is going to make the jobs and lowering crime and tax revenue for the city and the county. It's a critical piece of our community. And I just want to thank you guys so much for everything you do for all of the for all the city, and especially with this project.
Thank you. Questions, comments from board members? I know this one's a long time coming. We were here just a couple months ago for the announcement on the RFP. So it's great to see, it moving forward. Want to thank, the chamber and others in the neighborhood for their patience with us as we got to this point. And Gordon, you and all your colleagues that you already named for, the work that you've done so that this can finally move forward. With that, if there's no other questions or comments from board members, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Then the motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. Moving into residential lending and investments. Our first item on the agenda is the rental gap Program Guidelines Amendments. Chief Wassler is joining us for this one.
Thank you, Chairman. The Rental Gap Program is the URA's loan program designed to increase and preserve the supply of decent, affordable housing, eliminate health, safety, and property maintenance deficiencies, and ensure compliance with applicable codes and standards. This program has many sources of funds, including the Housing Opportunity Fund, Community Development Block Grant or CDBG program, the Home Investment Partnership Program or HOME, affordable housing bond proceeds, and other funds received by the URA designated for development and improvement of rental housing, excuse me. Eligible projects must contain at least 4 rental units, and at least 10% of all units must be affordable to households at 60, 50, and 30% of area median income. This program prioritizes the creation of deeply affordable units by providing more funding per unit to those 30% AMI units than it provides to the 50 and 60% units. To help provide an understanding of the need, we looked back at the past 3 years of historical Rental Gap Program loan data. The average loan amount was approximately $1.4 million, which continually escalated year over year. In the URA's 2024 LIHTC pre-application round, more than half of the applicants requested more than $2 million in Rental Gap Program funds, with the average request being $2.7 million. We strongly feel that updates to the Rental Gap Program guidelines are necessary to provide the support needed to continue to create and preserve affordable units in a meaningful way, and to meet the current affordable housing gap financing needs caused by post-COVID-19 industry-wide construction escalations and capital markets financing challenges. Specific suggested guideline updates include an increase of the maximum Rental Gap Program loan amount per project from $1.25 million up to $2 million per project. We also will be increasing the maximum loan amount per unit. And I just want to make a note that the document that went out to the public had some incorrect AMIs listed. So the correct AMIs per unit are at 30% of area median income, we will allow $75,000 per unit. At 50% of area median income, $50,000 per unit. 60% of area median income, $35,000 per unit. The URA opened a 30-day public comment period for the program changes after the changes were announced at our June board meeting. We received 1 public comment from Neighborhood Allies Executive Director Presley Gillespie, enthusiastically supporting the changes and thanking the URA. I want to take a quick moment to thank the residential lending staff, many who you'll hear from today and the different items that'll be presented. Also want to thank the QC&I staff, the finance department, the real estate department as well, who help support the management of this program. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
Thank you, Chief Wassler. Any questions or comments from board members? Seeing no questions, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is the Rental Gap Program in Grandview South, and Brooke Gwynn is joining us for this.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brooke Gwynn. I'm a housing lending analyst at the URA. My presentation today includes 2 requests for authorization from the board. The first is the request for authorization to enter into a Rental Gap Program loan agreement in an amount not to exceed $1,250,000 with Grandview South Homes or a related entity for the construction of 31 scattered site units located in the Allentown neighborhood. And the second action is the final drawings, final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute a deed for the listed properties, for the sale of the listed properties in the 18th Ward to Grandview South Homes or a related entity. The borrower, Grandview South Homes, is a single-purpose entity created by Hilltop Alliance and Poole Anderson Properties. The affordability period will be 40 years. Construction is expected to be completed in September 2025. The units include a mix of 2 and 3 bedroom homes. All will be rented affordably at or below either 20, 50, or 60% AMI. 4 of the units will be ADA accessible, and the project area is close to multiple transit stops in Allentown's business district. 18 of the parcels in the project will be acquired from the URA, and this is the third board action in the disposition process. In total, 27 vacant lots and 6 abandoned structures will be put to their highest and best use, safe and affordable housing. The project was awarded 9% low-income housing tax credits from PHFA in 2021. And in addition to the RGP loan, the project has additional financing from private and public sources. The total development cost is $17 million. Each home's heating and central air will utilize an electric heat pump, and all appliances will be Energy Star rated when possible. All units will also have a target score of 50 or less on the home energy rating system, leading to energy cost savings into the future. The project is based on a rent-to-own model. After the 15-year LIHTC compliance period, the homes will be available for purchase by eligible residents. To speak more on this exciting project, may I introduce Bill Shimko from Hilltop Alliance, followed by Andy Haynes from Gatesburg Road Development and Poole Anderson Properties. Thank you.
Again, Bill Shimko, Hilltop Alliance. I don't have a whole lot more to say than what Brooke just said. It was a wonderful introduction, but I will again applaud you all for the URA's helping bring this project to fruition. Also, our elected officials, Mount Washington CDC helped us begin buying these properties in 2016 when we didn't have the capacity to do it. But I also wanted to mention Allentown CDC, who has worked with us tirelessly throughout this entire process since 2013 when we started the community planning around it. They have been with us ensuring that the voice of the community is heard throughout the entire process. They had a say in what those buildings look like. They had a say in how many bedrooms they have. We work together with that neighborhood organization like we try to work with all of our neighborhood organizations at Hilltop Alliance. So thank you again. As was mentioned, Andy Haynes is also here virtually, and we are excited to be here and answer any questions you might have.
Thanks. Andy, did you have anything you'd like to add?
No, just real quickly, want to thank the URA and especially the real estate department and Hilltop and all the partners and cobbling 33 lots together to create 31 units. These are not easy projects, but they make huge impacts on the community, and we look forward to getting started.
Great, thank you. Questions, comments from board members on this? I have one question, and it's around the lease purchase. I mean, first, it's exciting to see, but if you could just, I don't know, Andy, if it's you or Bill or Brooke, just speak a bit, for the public's understanding, how that works, and then what support, you all will be able to provide for the residents that are renting, the homes during that compliance period to go ahead and become owners eventually.
I'll take the lead on that. So the lease purchase program allows us to, in year 15, to talk to the tenants that exist in the units to gauge their interest in purchasing their home so it's affordable to them. We have set aside, at closing, we'll set aside a down payment assistance for each unit of $2,000 that will accrue interest, and that will be available for them for down payment assistance or any other closing costs. It is only eligible to the tenants living in that unit at year 15. We cannot sell to someone else. We cannot evict these people if they decide not to purchase the unit. But if they do decide to purchase the unit, we'll work with community groups on credit counseling and home buyer counseling to achieve home ownership. And we would sell the unit approximately in our budget. We project about $60,000, which will help pay down some of the debt from the URA and PHFA. But again, if the person in that unit does not have the desire or the ability to purchase, they are not evicted. It remains affordable. And then there's also resale provisions. If someone buys it in year 15, they can't turn around and double their profit in year 20. There is a continued restriction on the affordability of the unit.
Okay. Thanks, Andy. I know we've seen, I think, one other lease purchase project recently. So
Yes.
am I hallucinating?
There was
Okay.
one in Garfield many years
That's
ago,
right.
scattered sites. Andy, is your Garfield
Yep.
project a lease purchase as well?
I am the only, I'm one of the few that are willing to do these. We have 3 of them. None of them have come to year 15 yet. Our first project in Garfield Glen, is getting very close. So we're going to start engaging with Bloomfield Garfield Corporation on working with the tenants. So the success of them, from what I understand across the country, is, not 100%, probably about 50% of them actually turn into home ownership and the rest remain rental units. So I'll get back to you in a couple of years.
Okay. Thanks, Andy. I want to compliment you and your team and the team at Hilltop Alliance and the partners just on, leveraging the LIHTCs to do the lease purchase, to, help to shoulder the sort of high cost of the development that they are, and LIHTC's a powerful tool to being able to do that, but then, using it then to turn around and allow those families to ultimately build wealth. It's something to applaud. So thank you for that. I just want to thank everyone for your work on this. I know it's been a long time coming. So Brooke, thank you for your work recently to get it over the finish line, and Bill and your team, and Andy, and your team, and MLU and your team, because I know, as Andy said, the site assemblage on all of this is not easy. So if there's no other questions or comments from board members, entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Congratulations.
So much.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is the rental gap program in the Central North Side for the Allegheny YMCA. And Ben Payton is joining us for this.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Payton. I'm the manager of the residential lending department here at the URA. I think we have a couple related items to do for the Allegheny YMCA project. I guess I'll just start at the top and go down. Okay. So this afternoon, I'm requesting board authorization to enter into a rental gap program loan agreement in an amount not to exceed $2 million with the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh or a related entity for the rehabilitation of 89 single-room occupancy units located in the Central North Side neighborhood, Ward 22, City of Pittsburgh. I'll go to the next slide and then probably come back. So the Allegheny YMCA, a nearly 100-year-old building in the Central North Side neighborhood, is in need of major renovations. The building has a gym and recreational facilities on the first 2 floors and 89 single-room occupancy units on the top 3 floors. Despite efforts to maintain the building, its below market rents and membership fees have limited the YMCA's ability to make significant improvements. To address this, the YMCA and Action Housing have proposed a $24.3 million rehabilitation plan, which includes renovations to both the commercial and residential areas. The project will be funded through a combination of new market tax credits, federal historic tax credits, and grants from public and private sources. However, the project has a financial gap of $4.3 million due to the limitations of new market tax credit deals. To fill this gap, the developer has applied for a $2 million rental gap program loan from the URA, which will be used to preserve the affordable SRO units. And should the URA board approve this loan, the reinvestment fund is willing to fill the remaining financial gap. The proposed RGP loan will be repaid through cash flow and would include affordable deed restrictions on all 89 SRO units. The project is expected to close by the end of September, with construction completion by March of 2026. So At this point, I think I'd like to invite Amy Keeneland and Carolyn Grady from the YMCA up to say a few words about the project, and we'll take any questions at that point about.
Thank you so much. I'm Amy Kinley. I'm the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh. And I'm accompanied by Carolyn Grady, also with the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh. She's our Senior VP, Chief Development Officer, as well as our partner from Action Housing, Tom Cummings, a consultant with Action Housing. They've been an incredible partner on this project and serving as our development partner. We're grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today and for your consideration for continued support of this project. I just want to say a special thanks to the URA. From the very beginning of this project, the URA has been supportive and engaged in this project. And also has previously awarded a $1.5 million loan through the HPP program. Definitely want to also give a special thanks to Chief Wassler and her staff who have walked alongside of us again since the beginning of this project, as well as highlight Becky Wagner and her support through PUI. We also have the support of many of all of the elected officials throughout the community. This project is especially important because of the affordable housing piece, but I wanted to bring to your attention, we're also doing affordable and quality childcare. We'll be adding 38 slots through this renovation to support the Northside community, as well as reinvest and renovate our healthy living programs and services that are housed through this particular facility. Thank you for your consideration for this additional request of the $2 million loan through the RGA program. It's an investment in another 100 years of service in the Northside community. Not only will you be preventing the displacement of our current 55 residents that are occupying the space now, who will not be displaced during the renovation of the facility either, but you'll be also preserving the total of 89 single room occupancy units. Also, the stats that you shared earlier, I wanted to highlight the fact that the Center Avenue YMCA, which was a project we did a while ago, which also relied on the support of URA, was 76 of those SRO slots that were preserved and are still in service today. So thank you for your consideration.
I'm sorry. Sure, we can go on through the walk-on items at this point. So if you want to go back to the previous slide, that might be helpful. So the next item here is authorization to add waivers of the rental gap program and housing preservation program mortgage recordation requirements to today's board agenda. So these items were not on the agenda when it was made public a few days ago. So I believe this is an action that the board needs to take at this point to add the 3 items below at the bottom.
And just to provide additional clarity around why these 3 items are needed, if you look at the sources of fundings, the source of funds related to this project is a significant capital stack, each funding source having its own requirement. Because of the new market tax credits, I believe that is why we need to have the 3 related items walked on today.
Yeah, correct. I can go into some brief detail here. So because this is a new market tax credit deal, the structure of the deal prevents these loans from taking a mortgage on the property. So the current guidelines for both the RGP program and the HPP program require our loans to have a mortgage. And in this instance, we can't. So it would be a waiver to those guidelines.
So can I get a motion to amend today's agenda to include, as shown on the screen, authorization to add waivers of the rental gap program and housing preservation program mortgage recordation requirements to today's board agenda, then authorization to waive the rental gap program guidelines mortgage recordation requirement for the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh's RGP loan, and then authorization to waive the housing preservation program guidelines mortgage recordation requirement for the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh HPP loan in the amount of $1.5 million.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of amending the agenda?
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Our agenda is amended. Okay. Any questions, comments from board members on the presentation or any of the items we just amended? I have one question on the 89 SROs. I know maybe Ben, you may know this, or Palm or Carolyn or Amy. I know there's a few of them that are offline now. I guess so. With the investment, how many will be brought back online that aren't currently occupied?
For that question. Currently, we have 105 units. And so with the renovation, we're going to be taking shared showers and making private showers on each floor and adding laundry, which will reduce our total units. But post-construction, we'll have a total of 89 units in service.
How many are occupied right now, though?
55.
55. Okay. Because I know when we toured it, there's a few that are offline just because of the state of the facility that
That's
aren't of that 105. Not all of them can be occupied.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, not all of them can be, but we're artificially keeping our occupancy a little bit low in preparation for the construction so that we don't have to displace people while we do the construction. So we could probably currently have 75 or so units that could be occupied. And I do want to mention we participate in the bridge program. And so we do have 10 of those units that are dedicated for bridge program participants.
That's great. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? Just want to thank you all for the continued work on this. We've seen it a few times at the board. So it's exciting to see this, at this point, in order to kind of get it over the hump, and exciting to hear reinvestment fund, is stepping up with this investment, Ben, as you noted. So if there's no other questions or comments, entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Oh, second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the still Round Gap program in Homewood North, the Anderson Estates, and Jared Clayton's joining us for this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jared Clayton. I'm a lending analyst here with the URA in the residential lending department. I'm here to request approval to enter in a rental gap program loan agreement with WNT Daniels Development Group or related entity for a loan amount not to exceed $330,000 for new construction of 6 units on Hermitage Street in 15208 in the Homewood North neighborhood, Ward 13 in the city of Pittsburgh. Anderson Estates will develop 6 new affordable rental units in Homewood North. This project will demolish 7 vacant townhomes to construct 3 duplexes, each containing 1 2-bedroom and 1 4-bedroom unit, available to individuals with housing choice vouchers at 50% and 60% AMI. This initiative is part of a broader plan to create 16 affordable units in Homewood community. As the owner of Concrete Rose Construction and WNT Daniels Development Group, Ms. Daniels has demonstrated a strong track record in overseeing and executing both renovation and new construction projects throughout Pittsburgh, with one of her most notable examples being Benedict Dwellings Project, which was a development in collaboration with Neighborhood Allies. This initiative, which involves the construction of 2 duplexes, resulting in 4 affordable 3-bedroom apartments in Homewood, has been well received by residents and community leaders. Neighborhood Allies will be partnering with Ms. Daniels on Anderson Estates as a co-developer, equity investor, and grant provider. This continued collaboration underscores the strong working relationship and mutual trust built through their prior successful project. Community engagement has been robust for this project with supports from residents, the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and established partnerships with such organizations as the Trade Institute of Pittsburgh and others. The total development cost for Anderson Estates is $2.5 million with an anticipated construction completion date of July 2025. I'd like to acknowledge developer Tina Daniels that's here with us today, as well as Demi Koch, who's the Director of Community Investments with Neighborhood Allies. We'd be happy to take any questions from the board.
Thank you, Jared. Tina or Demian, if you have anything you'd like to add to, yeah, go ahead. Don't all come up at once.
Nervous. And thank you all for having us here today. And I just wanted to extend thanks to the URA for programs like this, because you really make it possible for smaller developers like myself to take advantage of opportunities of revitalizing our neighborhoods. Any questions or anything?
Thank you. Demian, if you have anything you wanted to add before we jump in on.
Thank you, Demi Kolke, Neighborhood Allies. Just want to double down on what Ms. Tina said. Thank you, guys. And prior agenda item for increasing the rental gap guidelines, super helpful, and really was able to decrease the gap in this project because of that. So thank you all.
Great. Thank you. Questions or comments from board members? I want to thank you for, your work on this project, and our team, for your work on this project and the partnership with Neighborhood Allies. Advancing projects like this of this scale are incredibly difficult, and, don't sort of get the headlines or the same interest, but they're critically important, as you all have said, for investments in, our neighborhoods in order to preserve that fabric, and create these opportunities. So, it's exciting, to see this move forward and with a looking at it, very complicated, capital stack that I know is never easy to pull together. So thank you for your work on that. And, also exciting to see you and your business grow into, a new venture. So that's tremendous. And I'm glad we're able to support that work. So there's no other questions or comments from board members. We'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Congratulations. Our next item on the agenda is the HAP pilot program administration agreement with Action Housing, and Chief Wasser, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. So the Homeowner Assistance Program, or HAP, is a program funded by the Housing Opportunity Fund that provides financial assistance up to $35,000 per home to homeowners for the purpose of rehabilitating and improving the residential owner-occupied properties within the city of Pittsburgh. The Homeowner Assistance Program was designed with the well-being and safety of Pittsburgh homeowners in mind, especially low-income homeowners who experience deferred maintenance due to financial constraints. As we showed earlier in the board agenda, in the board meeting, since launching in 2018, the program has been able to assist approximately 560 homeowners with home improvements that are critical to the health, safety, accessibility, and financial stability of families across the city. The 2024 HAP allocation amount is $3,050,000. The URA is currently seeking to enter into a pilot agreement with Action Housing for $1.5 million to administer and oversee our 2024 HAP process from opening to completion. As was mentioned earlier by Bill Shimko, there were thoughts that the URA would not open around this year because we have a bit of a backlog, but we have since worked to get to a point with Action Housing that we think they could assist us with this. This agreement includes, so again, they would process the 2024 HAP round from opening to completion, which includes launching the application round, selecting and approving the final applications, matching those approved applicants to contractors, and managing the construction process through completion. All of this with the assistance of the URA. Action Housing anticipates that they can complete approximately 35 to 40 projects with the $1.5 million in fundings. The benefits of Action Housing administering the program this year include our applicants will have access to a streamlined portal, which was used by Action Housing to open for their Allegheny County Whole Home Repair Program. So it's a great portal that we've demoed with them. I think it'll be an easier opportunity to apply through that portal. This will avoid disruption and delay in service to clients in 2024. This will help the URA manage our minor capacity constraints that we're currently having. And this could give us the opportunity to potentially streamline coordination in the future with Allegheny County through the whole home repair program. There's a solar program that's coming on board, an electrification program, weatherization, and other programs that are being run through Action Housing, where we could have the opportunity to coordinate, and an applicant could have access to all of those through this one application in the future, potentially. So we would be looking with this agreement to open the round with Action Housing potentially as early as September or October of 2024. Dan Sullivan from Action Housing's Manager of Housing Stabilization Programs is here with us today to provide any additional information and to assist with answering any questions.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank the board for having me. I'm here to answer any questions. The Home Repair Hub, which was just referenced earlier, is a database that currently holds information on 43 said homeowners. It not only allows us to streamline the application process, takes a paper application that could take days in some cases and turn it into minutes. It also allows us to do a lot of statistical data studies on not just where we're working, are we reaching the clientele that we want to be reaching, and we're also working with Tobias currently on taking a look at additional environmental and economic effects of the work that we're doing in certain census tracts. So this is a great portal to allow us to kind of take a look every time we get a program like this, what could be done better, what could be done with really trying to make the city of Pittsburgh a great place for everyone to live. So we're in support of this. We have contractors ready. I'll be getting Tina later, but we already got 10, 9 of them are WMBEs with multiple sizes. This is a plug and play. We're ready to hit the ground running. So I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks. Any questions, comments from board members? I would just like to thank the staff for in action for thinking about a way to ensure that we're still able to offer, the program this year, even if it is different than in years past, in order to get some funds out while, we do work internally through the backlog, which is important to do that and make sure that we're delivering, commitments that we've made to folks. So do applaud you for that and action for, your partnership here.
And I just want to add that we will come back to the board. There's a ramp up period that URA and Action Housing will take to get the application ready. We will come back to the board and the public to provide the timing of when the application will open and an announcement, and just provide some additional information about the actual round opening.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. If there's no other questions or comments, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Thanks. Congratulations. Next is the consent agenda. If there's any questions or comments from board members on the consent agenda? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve in its entirety.
So move.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. And then on the disclosure agenda, I just want to note for the record that it has been revised to just include the 2 items that are shown on the screen. And then with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a second. Second. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you all for being with us, and we will see you in September.